strong.
Welcome to Bear Blast, the podcast where we dive into all things Mott Community College. I'm your host, Alicia Turner, and today I'm joined by some very special guests from our Student Presidential Advisory Council, also known as SPAC. These incredible students work directly with MCC leadership, representing the student body and making positive change on campus. Together, we'll explore their experiences, discuss some upcoming initiatives, and give you an inside look about what projects are shaping our community. So whether you're here for the latest campus news or student success stories, or you just want to get connected with MCC, you're in the right place. So let's get started. Guys, thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate your time, and I'm excited to hear a little bit about your topic. But before we get started, I just wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about who you are and where you come from. So as I mentioned, my name is Alicia, and I actually am the coordinator for student life here on campus. So I want to know a little bit about you. Tell me your name, tell me your major, maybe a fun fact. That's everybody's favorite thing to do.
Thank you so much, Alicia. So my name is Saina Golami, and I am studying at the GENAID, or General Studies Associate, and I'm a member of Presidential Advisory Council, also a member of International and Immigrant Student, and a mentee at Women in Education. Also, fun fact about me, I am from Afghanistan, and I can speak like 5 languages.
5 languages, wow. Can you tell us what are the languages?
Yeah, they are Dari, Pashto, English, which is the third one, and Arabic and Turkish.
Wow. I can only speak English, so you're leagues and leagues ahead of me. Maybe you can give me some tips. All right. Who do we have next?
Hey, everyone. This is Aaliyah Anderson. This is my second year at Mott, majoring in dental hygiene, and I'm here to give the best tips that I can. I've been in the game for 2 years, so I think that I can give some pretty good tips for my student body.
All right. Yeah, you definitely have the experience behind you, and we're going to get into our topic a little bit later, but we want to just introduce a special guest of SPAC that's here today. So tell us a little bit about who you are and what are, and you're a student at Mott, correct?
Correct.
All right.
Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Otis Stanley. I'm actually a returning student. I attended Mott Community College back in 2008/2009. I do want to say, I guess I didn't take it as serious. Coming straight from high school, I still treated it as such. But now that I'm returning under Michigan Reconnect, I'm taking it a little bit more serious. I've been practicing dental assisting for about 15 years now. My end goal is to become a dentist, but currently under Michigan Reconnect, they only pay for an associate's or a bachelor's degree, so I'm aiming for my bachelor's, and I want to become a dental hygienist, and I'll put myself back to school, hopefully through U of M, to become a dentist.
All right, that's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. So today, what we want to talk about is a little bit about like tips for students navigating your student experience on campus. And tell us, we're going to talk to a little bit about some struggles that you might have and some things that you might be going through. I was a student, but it was a really long time ago, so I'm not going to be too much of a voice in this conversation, but I know you guys are relevant. You are here. You're doing this right now, and so I think it's a good opportunity to share your voice a little bit and get a little bit of that confidence out there for some of the other individuals that might need some helpful tips. So we are going to do navigating college life and tips for new students. So to start, really what I want to know is, and we only have about 30 minutes to talk, so that's unfortunate because I'm sure there's a lot of tips out there that we would love to get a hold of, and maybe we can do another episode down the road and talk a little bit more, but at least for today, we want to start with like our first major question, and to me, like, what I want to know is everybody jumps usually into what's the best thing about college and what's your favorite thing. But really what I think that is really relevant is talking about what your struggles are. Because everybody shares in struggles, right? Not everybody shares in the same successes.
Correct.
But they share in the same struggles. So tell me a little bit about what tips that you have for people who might be struggling with college, or maybe it's organization, maybe it's time management, maybe it's just test taking or something like that. Tell me a little bit about how you manage those things. And obviously, we want to stay as positive as possible, but let's be real about the conversation, right? So tell me a little bit about that.
Okay.
Yeah, no, sure. So once again, I'm a returning student. I feel like had I had such tips or type of guidance back then, maybe I wouldn't have strayed away from my community college. But being back, I noticed that with multiple classes, try to be organized. So I try to keep a different folder per class, keep all of my work organized in each said folder. So that way when it comes down time to do homework or pull out notes to study, I'm not scrambling through stuff. Kind of reminded me of how I used to be back in high school, actually. Utilize like resources that Mott has to offer as far as like study groups and leaning on your peers. Some peers, do better in certain areas versus, and this could be even in the same class, they may start off knocking it out, but towards the end may need that help, and you may know the answers towards the end. So just like you can always rely on like your classmates or your peers. I try to utilize the tools that Mott provides, such as like they have Canvas students where it shows you to-do dates, so that way you're not falling behind on assignments, and you know what to study appropriately and prepare yourself for success. I just feel like place stuff on a visible calendar. I'm not always checking Canvas students, but at home I do have a calendar hanging up. It's a dry erase board calendar, and I'm like faithfully, religiously on there, like writing down what I have to have accomplished for the week, what I need to be studying. So those type of tips, I feel like if I can shed light, it may help the next person.
Nice. That's awesome. So, and you guys have anything that you'd like to add? Like, what do you do to stay motivated too? Like, because you got a lot of struggles that are coming your way, especially like midterm level, finals level, that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah, especially I've just got done with midterms. Luckily, I've passed all of them. But in order to pass all of them, I did find new techniques like the Pomodoro technique, where you do 25 minutes of just focused work and then a 5-minute break, and then you can tweak it as much as you like. 30-minute work, 15-minute break. Like, you just really want to establish your study routine based off of you. Everyone's studies routine is not going to be the same.
Correct.
Otis may be different from mine. We learn different.
Correct.
Establish that study routine first, and you will definitely see an outcome
Mm-hmm.
in the end.
There's no cookie cut to it.
Just
right?
no, you
Right.
can't just go around it. You have to put in the work. You have to put in the work at school. You have to put in
Correct.
the work. You're spending your money for this.
Right. That's a very good point.
Yeah.
You have to do some type of work up in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, as my peers, they mentioned some tips, but I want to more deep dive in challenges what the students they have, because most of them they come directly from high school to college. It's so hard time management, because like at high school, your time is already managed. You have already bills that they are ringing, but you don't have them at college at all. So when you come here, you have to make sure that you are managing your time by yourself. This is like right now yourself. And the second thing is that the students, they are so dependent to their like teachers, their family, their parents. So because at this age, there is like changes in life. This is a big change. So you should make sure that you are independent. At this time, life is on your hand, not on your parents. Don't like think, my father will do that or my mother. Just to say, be yourself. And then the next thing that the students, I have seen that a lot of students, they have that, is being like stressed and being like kind of like somehow, because some of them, they get separate from their family and they go to their new life and being like living by themselves, they feel so lonely. Or if they're traveling through the countries or states, they say, I miss my home, or when getting homesick. But I mean, these are very common. There are like resources and helps that you can find through colleges. We have like therapists, we have other resources, student lives. These are very important that do not forget. Yes, this is a big change for students, but this is not something that they should forget. Or sometimes when they are at high school, they set their goals very high that, oh, I'm going to become this and this, which is perfect. But then when they go to college, they lose all of those hope because they face a new life. This is important to always stay motivated.
Yeah,
Right.
that's a good point. And I did think about that earlier too. Like when it comes to motivations, it's a lot different. Like you said, when you have somebody who's newly 18, who just came in from their mom and dad's house, which is obviously a great place to be in a lot of cases. Like you've got things supplied for you. You got a roof over your head, you got, food on your plate, and those are things you don't have to worry about on the daily, but your time management for your classes is something that you have to worry about. And like making it, and I didn't even think about the school bell. Like that makes so much, I've been out of school for a long time. But I forgot about that. Yeah. I forgot about the fact that they actually have that to prompt you to go from class to class. Here, we don't have that. In college, in general, you don't have that.
Their schedule is built at the high school. They are ready. They don't have to
schedule pretty much made for you.
Everything
Like
is
being
ready.
programmed or conditioned.
Yeah, that's another good point in the fact that like in college, you have to create your schedule. You have to accept your classes. You have to make sure that you're on the right track and the right pathway is what we have at Mott. And pathways are kind of maps for you on trying to figure out where you should be going in that direction. But it's up to you as the student to make that pathway happen. Correct. Like your mom's not going to do it for you.
Right.
And actually, to be totally honest, like there's an actual law that prohibits your parents from doing that for you. Like you are independent, you are an adult, and they don't have any rights according to your education at that point. Like they're going to be the ones where we have regulations in place that tell us we have to talk to the student, not the parent. So like this is your moment. We don't mean to throw y'all in head first, but like that's a reality that you're facing. So that is a big struggle.
And that's when we talk about about the guide and bearing. So one thing that I want to mention, please listen to this. Be on time, specific for your first day of college. When you come here, there will be guide. They're going to show you where to do your class. So you're going to find it. Because when I came the first time in the college, I didn't know literally where to go. But there was like some guides, they were stand by the door and they show me my class. That was very amazing. If I would be late, I wouldn't have that chance.
Right.
I would have I had to miss my class because I didn't know where to go.
Right.
That was the only reason. So just make sure that when you are turning, you're here. And another thing that I wanted to mention is if you are losing your peers because you have been like 12 years or at least like 4 years with your peers in like high school and then you are changing in here, don't feel stressed. Don't feel like tired. Oh, yeah, I don't have anyone. That's okay. You're going to find somebody.
Yeah.
You're going to find somebody that has very similar to your situation and can help you the same way.
For
Yeah,
sure.
and community is a huge deal. Like, and we know that community helps motivate you. And you might not have maybe you're not going to the same college as your friends from high school, and that can be a struggle. So tips for that is to be as active as you possibly can when you get to college and like talk to people, go to events, say hello. I know that for our introverted folks out there, that might be a bit of a struggle, but if you need help, you can always come to places, for example, like Student Life. Shameless plug for myself, but like come in and talk to us and say, I'm really looking for some people that can help, maybe keep me accountable on my grades or some friendships or something like that. Those are good tips because like, that the struggle is real out there when you're trying to do class and work and try to keep everything level, but you also need a social life.
Yeah.
That's the thing that
Right.
keeps you mentally healthy,
Yeah,
right?
mental.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people long for that. Like they get to college and it's not the same as high school, and it just feels like they're missing that. And I hate to say it, I'm not trying to deter anyone, but like some people get to college and they treat it as high school. Like I said, that was me back in the day, and I've changed my ways now. So, but like they say, there's a time and a place for everything. So, there are opportunities and, organizations on campus that you can definitely step into and have that fulfillment and enjoyment. But at the same token, you got to know that you are here for a reason. You're trying to accomplish your goals, and, Mott has the resources and tools to help.
Yeah, I feel like the one thing that you said, Sina, about like getting off on the right foot, basically, like making sure that you're going to class on time and that you're paying attention to your schedule, and like set yourself up for success from the beginning, and make sure that you're consistent with that, because it's really easy to fall off that train. Like it's super easy, right?
Tell me about it.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's hard to come back from that. Like we all know that, like you start out with pretty good grades, and then the second that you miss a test because you slept in too long or whatever, your grade can tank real quick. And that's something you don't want to have to try to recover from either. Right. So that actually leads into a great question, because like I want to know, you mentioned resources, and there's a lot of resources on campus. So like how do you guys make the most out of student services and campus resources? Like what do you do? What's the motivation behind that? So we all know that there are resources on campus. We did a whole episode about what those resources are, but how do you motivate yourself to use those resources? Like what do you do? Are you waking up early? Are you keeping, tabs on message boards? Are you following the news for the camp? What are you doing?
Yeah, I mean, like I stated at first, you have personal resources that you can utilize at home. Like I said, I have a dry eraser board that I'm constantly changing, constantly updating, and constantly focusing on. But as well, when I didn't have any type of guidance on, said resources, I started talking to my professors, and they've been my main guide. They've been telling me, hey, go and do purpose games. Go and do, they give me online resources. Hey, there's a study guide, like guided notes, skeleton notes. They're doing things like that to help us. They want to see you succeed. As well, they have study halls here. I've never seen a professor not invite you to a study hall. So,
right.
They're letting you know, yes, ultimately it's your responsibility, but if teachers or professors like how I feel like I do, they feel the weight of responsibility as well. They're only as good as their success stories, and they're making it happen here. Like, guys, you just got to get up and do it. Don't procrastinate. That was a big thing that I did back in the day. I've always it can wait. Oh, I got time. Oh, and then next thing you know, you blink and time's up.
Right.
So like if you're staying diligent on like I said, I got a dry eraser board. I use it religiously, and a lot of people, what are you doing? What are you doing? This Aaliyah said, what works for me may not work for you. So just because I'm preaching about this dry eraser board, I don't want everybody running out going to buy one,
right,
thinking like that's the golden key. But like at the end of the day, it's helping me. So you have to find what works for you or what helps you, and just allow it to keep, working for you. If you don't feel confident enough going to your professors, everybody is like giving a success coach. I talked to my success coach, Mr. Dan Stewart, and he's amazing. When I say this guy is like always got my back, always trying to find, well, I'll be down to talk to you, or shoot me an email, or it's always an open door,
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, don't feel like you're by yourself or you're isolated or you're shunned out. No, it's in the name, community. We are a community here. Everybody wants to see everyone succeed here. So it's just like you got to put forth the work, though. That's really what it is. And then you have to find the appropriate help. Just because you got a friend that's doing well in that class, they took it before you. If you know that you're going to goof off with your friends, and you're not going to get anything accomplished, learning from said friend, try to, a different avenue. I wouldn't just honestly go straight to my friend, because I'll find myself joking and laughing more. And then I look up and I'm like, oh crap, 2 hours passed by. Oh,
right.
Okay. So how did we do number 2? And you're like, dude, number 2. So it's like, you really want to try to stay focused, not just only in school, but like as far as like finding help and just keeping up with the material. Like you stated, you don't want to fall behind on the material, because you fall behind on a test or a quiz, it's hard to make that up.
Mm-hmm.
Once the grade starts dropping, then what your I want to say integrity, but like just how you feel about the class as a whole starts to change as well. You don't feel as confident anymore. Everybody starts off with 100. Let's say it like that, but you kind of want to stay at it and try to keep that grade up.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Okay, I want to follow this question with the previous question. And this is like the challenges at the same time. How do we manage it? I want to bring something that, please remember that professors at colleges, they are not taking the courses as easy as high school.
Yeah.
Correct.
Because professors are so serious. specific courses, they are prerequisite for other courses. Make sure you are on top of every studying. Make sure that you are everything you are learning. It's not just like, okay, I'm gonna do it by the end of the semester, because end of the semester, if you already got your grade, you got it. There is no changes. Like maybe there is some schools, the teachers are nicer. They are trying to take it easier for the student. They say, okay, at the end of the class, I'm gonna do it, and the teachers will be collaborative. But at college, they are not.
Right.
Yeah, and make sure that you are good with that. And then if you feel like, okay, I'm gonna do it, but I don't understand, you can use office hours of professors. They always have office hours, and they are often specific at Mott Community College. They are so nice. They are really helpful. They are trying their best to help you. Don't lose that one. And also, you have your advisor. Try to communicate with them. Your classmates, they have some tips that they know from their perspective that would be like very helpful for you. Also, we have other writing center. That's probably the biggest center at Mott Community College, that most of the students, they are getting their help from there, because we have very high skilled writers that can help you to write the best way that you want. It doesn't matter that what major you are taking. You have to take English. You have to take writing. So you need to use all of that. Also, try to break down all the large assignments. Sometimes assignments are like looking so hard and difficult with high grade. Try to break it down pieces by pieces. That's easier than just leave it for the night that is exam. And these are for right now. There are many other things that I can share, but I wanted.
You don't want to overwhelm.
Yeah, I want to lie also. Yeah.
My main resource that I like to utilize, and a lot of people don't do it, is I'ma voice this numerous of times. Read your emails.
Yes.
Your answers are literally in your emails.
Yes, that is a great.
Nobody reads their emails. They just pile up, and literally it's so much valuable information in there. Literally, there's people in different departments that you probably know nothing of at Mott that are constantly sending you emails to help you, be successful.
Yeah, they're begging to help you.
They're literally every day I'm seeing something. Dan Stewart, our success coach, for example, Motivational Mondays will literally give you motivation.
So
right.
true.
It literally gives you all of the resources that you need, what's going on campus, who's doing what department is doing what jobs are available. Yes, we have jobs on campus to help you.
Sure do.
To help you be successful. Go down and get you a job. Go down and, network with people.
Right.
Figure out who's who. Figure out who's what. And you never know. It's always about who you know, too.
Yeah.
So
They can help you get your foot through the door, too. You never know who you meet.
I think we talked about that last time, too. Like, it is, unfortunately, it's not like something that you always are happy about in certain circumstances, but it is about who you know. Yeah, and the only way you can know those people is if you are proactive about it.
Yeah.
Everybody here, like you mentioned, is extremely open for the most part. We've got a lot of people on this campus that are ready to help you. And as Otis said, like, you have a success coach. You might not know that currently. You should. Yeah. You should know that.
They're emailing you.
But they're emailing you. You have somebody you can talk to. You have an advisor. You have professors. You have deans. You've got, all of student life is here to help you as well. So, like, there are resources. But if you, and this is one thing, I'm gonna be a little bit of a parent on this one. But the one thing that disappoints me is when students come to me and they say, well, no one will help me. And I was like, well, there's got to be something missing there, because there's always somebody willing to help.
Or no one told me.
Right. No one told me. That's one we get a lot, too.
Like, hold yourself accountable at this point. Like, is it Alicia?
Sina,
I'm sorry. Like Sina said, at this point in the game, like, guys, you're a young adult. Like, you have to start conducting yourself as one.
Right.
You have to hold yourself accountable. Like Aaliyah said, check those emails. And like, is it
Alicia?
Yeah. She said, there are resources here. You got to engage. Get out and talk to people, and they'll point you in the right direction, even if they don't know. People are friendly if you just vocalize that you need help. I can't fix anything that I don't know is broken. And I feel like everybody knows what that means. So a professor or anybody on the campus, if they don't know that you need help, unless
Right.
you like vocalize, hey, where is such and such at? Or how do I, what hour is it? And then, just pull this up right here. And I've had people pull me aside, jump on any computer. There's so many resources here. They'll sit me down in a heartbeat and to navigate me to what I needed help with. So you guys got to just, I guess I want to say, like, put the fear aside. I know it can be kind of scary because it's not high school where things were kind of did for us. But here you kind of have to put on your big boy or big girl pants and get the job done.
Following this topic, I want to just add a specific message for specific immigrants and international students. Please understand, when you are coming from another country, the system is very different from here, specifically the grading system, which this happened to me, but I don't want this happen to anyone that is coming again. But I was at Mott Community College. I had like my success coach, which helped me a lot. But then, like, I was thinking when I get to the grades, I was so happy. Oh yeah, I have like 75%. It's like probably B+ in my country. It's gonna be fine. I'm gonna be perfect. And then I reached that point that when I get to 70%, my teacher, my professor, she emailed me and said, you cannot pass this course. I said, what? I should be almost A. And then she was saying no. And then I figured that this system is different grading system than there. Make sure that you understand the grading system in here, and make sure that in here, like in like our country, Afghanistan, we had like some system that we could catch up at the end. Specific, the final exam had like very big grade, but here is not. Here is different between each course, and normally teachers, they divide the credits between projects or between different assignments. Make sure you are on top of all of them, and instead of thinking like what I thought.
Right. Well, that's a great tip, actually. And obviously none of us are international students. So I had no clue. So thanks for bringing that to the table for sure. I think my last question for all three of you is, what is one thing that you wish you knew before you started college? Tell me, like, and obviously this is a tip episode. So we want to know, like, what's one thing, and I'm sure there's a lot. I'm sure you have more than one thing, but like, if you could reach out in front of you and grab a newly 18-year-old freshman and you say, hey, let me tell you something about college, what's that one thing that you could share with them?
I would go to two things instead of one.
Okay.
The first thing I wish to know, and I just barely started, not barely, like a few months, and I'm continuing, getting up early in the morning. Your brain is so fresh to study. It's so good time to learn. And the second thing is to research. Research about your major, research about your career, research about what you want to be, what you don't like about it, what you like it, what aspects of it. Don't just go and choose career and I don't know what's my future. That's the worst thing that you could do for yourself. Yeah. Because if you don't know and you're taking courses and you don't know what you are doing, because you don't know your pathway, then you're not going to end up in a way that you want. You might get knowledge, which is good, but then it's not, you can get that very sooner, very easier, rather than spending like 5 years, you could spend just in 1 year or 2 years in the same spot that you wanted. So that would be, the research is very, very important, and use all the resources that you can to just research and find out where you want to go and what you want to be and what problem in the future you want to solve. Yeah. That's very important.
I think to stay relevant as well with your research is important, because one thing I noticed, like, I went to college almost right out of high school, and then I left for a while, and then I came back, same situation. And I remember, like, I had made up my mind about my major, right? And I was like, oh, I'm going to do the same thing I went to college for the first time. Right. But it was years later, and the statistics were different. Like, the chances of you getting a job directly out of college, were a lot lower for this particular major. And I didn't know any of that. I just went into college blind, and I was like, yeah, I'm just going to continue what I was doing. Back when I first started college, it was a very relevant career, and it was like taking off, and I was like, oh, this is going to be great. I ended up getting extremely bored with school, and so I ended up taking off, and I traveled for a while, and then when I came back, I was like, oh, it's going to be the same. It is not the same. No. It is not the same. And checking the relevancy of your political climate, your country's climate and specifics, even if you're not from here, check to see what is the best thing when you do return from home for your future. Like you don't want to make sure at some point where you're coming in and you're like, oh, well, I wanted to have a degree in maybe gardening or something like that. And it was really good in 2011 and today is not very good. Like these are things that you got to keep fresh in your mind because research is key, making sure you're constantly checking and figuring out what the climate is. Otherwise, you're going to be stuck with a very, very, very expensive degree you can do nothing with.
Exactly.
So you want to be careful. I also think being strategic with the major that you choose. It goes right along with that. It's basically the same message, but it is like find something that can cover multiple avenues so that if you're, 10 years from now, you lost your job because they were downsizing, what else can you do? That's true. Good. Keep your research up. So what about you guys? What's the tip?
Yeah, if I was to be able to, I guess, to say, talk to a younger me, I would honestly say, first of all, to take it serious. Pretty much like, I can't get your name right. Sina. Like Sina said about the programming that high school does, utilize that. You are already programmed to do homework. You are already programmed to wake up early in the morning. You're already programmed. So it's like come to college with those same programs built into you, instilled in you. And I guarantee you with the, resources and, things that Mott has to offer, you will be successful. Mm-hmm. I did not understand that at the age of 17, but now looking at it, hindsight is always 20/20. It's just like, man, I wish somebody would have pulled me by my coattail and slapped me up the head and said, hey, man, focus, man, But, I mean, it is what it is. When I left from Mott, I did go to Ross. And like you were saying, like things change. I should have did my research because when I was going to Mott, I was going for architectural engineering, drafting, and designing. It was like, oh, yeah, this is going to make money. Right. And it was like, I got in there and I was like, yeah, no. But then when I left from and I went to Ross Medical Educational Center, I did the research on what it was to become a dental assistant and do I want to do this? And I did. And I went and I did it. And the courses was like, 9 months? And then I was out in the field making money, and it was like, oh. So now with me putting 15 years into it and I'm like, seeing different procedures done and I'm seeing different avenues that I can take in dentistry. It just opened my eyes to do more research to know verbatim. Is it verbatim? Mm-hmm. Exactly what I wanted to do. So it's like, yeah, I'm going to be a dentist. No matter how long it takes, that's my role. That's my end goal. So if you have a goal, like they're saying, do the research. And then when you come, keep that program that high school had already installed into you. Don't get home and put the book bag to the side and cut on the tube and now you're eating snacks and watching a movie where homework is just sitting there and you got a quiz coming up and, homework counts as points here. I don't know if people know that. Homework counted in high school, but like everything that your professors are going over, it counts. Like if your professor, my professor, Miss Roots, she said, if your professor takes the time to sketch something out on the dry erase board, you better be sketching with it. I don't care if you're an artist or not. Right. You better get it down in your notebook because everything that she does it always comes back to help me. Yeah. And that's just all I've ever known. So. That's
good. Good advice.
If I could grab a youngster out there, I would definitely, my first thing, and it's very simple, would be ask for help.
Yeah.
That was like my main problem, my main concern. I did not ask for help. I don't know. And I'm not going to say I didn't know. I was ashamed.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I was scared. Yeah. I was wondering what people were thinking of me.
Mm-hmm.
I was wondering, did I sound dumb? Right. Asking questions. Ask for help. Ask questions. Because when you ask those questions, you are building yourself for success.
Yeah.
And can I piggyback on that? There's been times where you'll help another student out by asking a question because they feel ashamed and they wanted to know the same answer to the question that you're asking.
And that's me now in college. I'll be with my friend group, my study group. We'll be in lecture. They'll whisper in my ear, what do they mean by that? And here I go, I'll ask, hey, Professor such and such, what do you mean by this? And then next thing I know, I look around my classmates, and my other classmates were wondering the exact same thing.
Right.
And they wouldn't have asked and they wouldn't have known if it wasn't for me just raising my hand. Can you repeat that?
Yeah.
Can you elaborate on that? It's just simple. Can you repeat? Can you elaborate?
Yeah.
And your professor is there to help you.
And honestly,
He's
they
going
like
to do
they
it.
like to hear it.
Yeah.
They want to know that you're interested and you're paying attention. They spend a lot of time writing these programs.
They really do. They really do.
There's no such thing as a dumb question. The only dumb question is the
Yes.
one that is not asked.
Yeah.
I'm
Thank
probably
you.
driving people crazy how much my hand goes up in class. So,
But
Yeah.
you'd be surprised.
Yeah.
You probably help a lot of students
Yeah.
in that classroom by you being the one standing up, raising your hand, asking questions. Then my last tip would be never, never, never study the night before a exam.
Right.
Do not do it.
trying to cram it all in.
Do not do it. Do not do it. I don't care how you think you know. Hey, I got
Yeah.
this in the bag. I know myself. No, I'm telling you, when you see that test, it will look totally different.
Right.
I've been through it
Yeah.
multiple times.
Yeah.
Right.
Do not do it.
Yes. And to be very clear on that message, we are not saying do not study.
Yes.
Like that's
I
actually
mean,
the
do
opposite
not
of what we're saying.
Wait
We're
till
saying
the last minute.
yeah, study, but don't wait till the last minute and don't try to cram
it all-
everything in. Yeah,
Yeah.
because otherwise you're gonna disappoint yourself.
Overload.
I know
Overload.
me when I was in college. One thing, I'm a terrible test taker. I always have been,
Same.
and that happens to a lot of people. I think my biggest problem was like if I knew that I had the confidence after I took a test, I probably failed because like I was like, oh yeah, I got all this because I waited till the last minute and I was like, oh, this is not going to be a problem. But if I was nervous about it and I had spent all of my time preparing and I was like coming into it and afterwards I'm like, I don't know, I think I might fail. I actually did pretty good. Right. So and you have that nervous system that helps. And there are some people who are great test takers and they could go in and it's not a problem and they're in and out and no issues. And some people who don't have to study. I had a roommate in college that was like that and I love her to death. She was
envy her at the same
Oh,
time.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, like,
all
how
the
do your
time.
brain work like
And she would go to work. She'd work all day and she'd come home and she would do no studying and she would just be like, well, I have a really, and she is a doctor of physical therapy. Like she is a doctor.
Wow.
And like, but she just had it programmed in her head. Like she would do study sessions with friends and like help them out and everything. But I remember thinking like, how I live with you. I see you all the time. And I never see you pick up a book. I don't know how you do it. Some people are naturally inclined. A lot of the rest of us have to work for it.
Yeah.
So I urge all of you, and like we say, hindsight is 20/20. We are all pretty much non-traditional students, so
Right.
or we were at one point. And so I think that a lot of our message today has been tailored towards 18-year-olds and people coming fresh out of high school. But a lot of this is translatable into non-traditional students as well. Like a lot of you are coming in and you're thinking, well, I don't belong here. I'm too old. Like, I don't want to raise my hand in class to draw attention to myself. Don't worry. I did all these things. So I know what that's like. But what I want people to understand is the more work you put in, the more successful you will be. If you don't put in the work, it's not going to come to you on a silver platter. Like you have to put it in. And there are plenty of resources, and we recommend that you check out our other episode that we did last week on resources. And if you need any help with anything like that, just let us know. Like, talk to us. Come find a fellow student. Come talk to SPAC. Come to Student Life, and we would be more than happy to walk you through processes, even if it's just like, hey, I'm not really sure what class to take next. Come talk to somebody. And it doesn't have to be a scheduled appointment with your advisor if you don't want. You can find a peer and say, hey, I was thinking about taking this anatomy class. What do you think? And maybe they took it with that professor and they're like, no, thank you. Don't do that.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
a lot of people have good advice, especially the ones that came before you. I know generations always hate hearing that. They're always like, yeah, when you were me, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no, we're being serious. Like, learn from our mistakes. We have done a lot of things that we regret or a lot of things that we wish we had done differently. And so heeding that advice and using it to your advantage and making sure you don't make those same mistakes, it's going to be very helpful. Like you have, and I had that same thing with people that came before me that were like, hey, I don't recommend that you do it that way. You should probably do it this way. And of course I was a typical teenager and I was like, what do you know? Like, so
That's how you want to do it.
right. I know best.
I
right?
know me.
One thing else that I wanted to add, but it's not about Mott Community College. I haven't experienced, but it might happen for other students. I don't know. But I have experience in other college. I took a class with a professor that he was pretty mean. So
Sure.
then what I was thinking, I was all the time keep thinking, I'm guilty. I'm not studying well. I don't understand why this is not my language. There was 1,000 results that make myself guilty while I knew I wasn't guilty. Don't think you're always guilty. And then when I reached to the next semester, I talked to my other classmates. They said, oh, that professor, that's tough. Why did you take that course? I was like, oh my gosh, I wasn't guilty. All the time I was making myself, because this is not my language, I'm
Right.
guilty. And
Right.
why, I
Right.
don't know. I'm paying for all of that because this is not my language. This wasn't that. So make sure that you are talking, as like Alicia said, and other peers. Just talk to your friends. Find friends if you don't
Yeah.
know. Talk to somebody. You're gonna find out. When I found out, I was like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
now I'm guilty.
Right.
Why I didn't talk to anyone?
Yeah. And in the only piece of advice that I could give from my perspective, currently as a staff member of this college, is definitely like when I was a youth. I definitely,
there we go.
yeah, I
Time to
definitely,
date ourselves.
right. I definitely came into the college atmosphere thinking that if I'm failing, it's obviously not my fault.
Right.
Okay, so we're not going to do that. We're not going to blame it on other people, right?
Yeah,
like you
don't.
might have a professor that is tough, like you said. Like you might have somebody who's really tough, but that does not mean that they're one out to get you, or two, like they're just trying to get you to fail. That is, I think, I'm very like maybe 1% of professors are actually out there like saying, you know what, I don't really care about any of this. Y'all fail, kind of thing. And you're rarely ever going to find that. Just understand that you have to notice the patterns, and conversations are necessary. If you think that you're having some sort of beef with your professor, go talk to him and just say, hey, listen, I am trying my best here, and I don't know. Like I need to know how to get a good grade in this class. According to you, what does that mean?
Right.
Yeah, and make it clear. My message was more mostly because maybe the stress that came.
Right.
That I was like trying to make myself guilty.
Right,
But
yeah, don't do that
doesn't mean,
either.
Yeah, it doesn't mean that like professor is definitely my enemy and
Right.
he's trying to no, it's just like, what was the problem? Because I was trying to talk to him. I was trying to tell him that I'm trying my best.
Mm-hmm.
This is something that may be complex for me. This is
Yeah.
something that is not clear for me. It was probably for all the students not clear. I wasn't there to ask him that question.
Yeah.
Right.
He
That's
would
why you
answer
ask
me the
for
same
help.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ask for help.
I do want to
Yeah.
say as well, like, there's pretty much zero tolerance for excuses here.
Right.
It's not like high school. So, back in the day,
Right.
I came with a high school mentality to, a grown folks playing ground, if that makes sense to anyone out there.
Plead your case.
Yeah,
Like-
and that's all I would ever do. And it's like, no, but now, right now to this day, I mean, I got 4.0s across the board.
Congratulations. That's
Semester
awesome.
by semester. Thank you. And then as well, I'm working 2 jobs doing this, and everybody's like really shocked, like, dude, how, I put the excuses behind me and I start carving out time for my studies. If you're serious about where you want to be in life, it will show.
Yeah. That's a great point. And I think that's our main lesson for today. There's a lot of things we could talk about tips and like what's the best course of action and what would we do. Well, like we don't have all the answers either, right? Like we're definitely not going to be the most educated people, and pardon the pun, on this topic. However, this is from our experience, and the only helpful thing we can do is to lead by example, really. And so I think
some of us are still working at it.
Yeah,
we're still
yeah.
working towards that goal. Like I'm currently still in school right now. So.
Yeah, and I think for certain demographics of individuals, like school could also be down the road for you. And if that's something you're looking forward to doing and you haven't approached it yet, we encourage you, come to college.
Yeah.
It's a great place. It's a great atmosphere to discover more about yourself and to figure out what you want to do in life. And so there's never a bad moment, and you are not too old.
No, you're
You
not.
are not too old. So like there's no better time than now to start something new. You got to pick yourself up and say, hey, I want to make a difference. I want to make a change in my life. And maybe college is that answer. I'm not saying it's for everybody, but that might be that answer. So we encourage you, or maybe you have a family member considering it. If you're out there listening to us on the YouTube, let us know if you need any help. Encourage each other. Let everybody know that nothing is impossible and there's always an answer. So if you need help from us, we'd love to hear from you. And thank you guys, and Otis, Aaliyah, and Sina for coming and talking to us today. And we just wanted to get your perspective, and we look forward to maybe having you again in the future. So we encourage you come hang out. But today, that wraps up this episode of Bear Blast. A huge thank you to your SPAC members for joining us and sharing their insights on what's happening behind the scenes at MCC. Remember, student life is about creating experiences, building connections, and making an impact. It's students like our SPAC guests who help make it all possible. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe with us, share with your friends, and follow us for more updates on campus life and campus events. Thanks for tuning in, and until next time, keep roaring. Go Bears.
Go
Bears.
Go Bears.